Hello friends and welcome back to my channel. I am going on a little trip this month. And of course that means I need to pick out some books to take with me because unfortunately I can't take my entire collection. I am a big mood reader and that's one of the reasons I love having so many books just sitting around so that whatever I feel like reading next, I probably have something to fit that mood. However, I have to be quite a bit more selective and I feel like I've got a stack here that is probably still too big, but I've really done my best. Before I tell you what books I've decided that I'm going to take with me, probably I still may change my mind at the last minute, but this is what I've decided on for now. I thought I'd set the scene on what this trip is going to look like. It is very much a family trip. My parents and my partner and I are going to be in the same car. We're driving to New South Wales for our wedding. My cousin is getting married. We're very excited about it. So we're going to spend a few days in one place for the wedding, and then we're also going to Batemans Bay where my grandparents live to spend some time with them. So all in all, I'm going to be away about 10 days. Obviously road trips, you know, it might take an extra day or two to come back. We don't know. We're just going to play it by ear. There will be at least 3 of those days spending many hours in the car. And of course with family trips, it's not really a holiday in the same way that, you know, just Blair and I getting away might be. All of the time is not going to be my own, I suppose I'll say. A lot of what we do and get up to will be very much dependent on other people, particularly my grandparents and how much they're up to and what they want to do. All of that to say is this is one of those trips where I might read literally half a book and struggle to read more than that. Or I could come back having read a book a day. I don't really know, but I want to be prepared because there is nothing worse than wanting to read and not having access to a book. So this is my plan. I'm gonna walk you through it. I've picked this many books, which is a fair amount of luggage space, I have to be honest. So this will perhaps shrink when I realize that I don't have quite as much space as my bag as I was hoping. But these are the books that I've picked out that I'm going to try and squeeze into my bag. Of course, I am also going to take my Kindle. I do prefer to read paperback books, and I love having a Kindle and I do use it, but I tend to go to my Kindle for particular kinds of reads. And then of course I do also have audiobooks on my phone. So these are the books I've decided, at least for now, that I'm going to try and find space for in my bag. And of course I am a bookseller and I am a fairly new children's bookseller. I'm still getting my head around the different literature available for young people these days. So although I've tried to pick things that I think I will look forward to reading, that I'll want to read, I have also chosen quite a lot of things that will benefit me in terms of my work as well. The first pick was Amari and the Night Brothers. This is a book that I have heard about before I started working at the children's bookstore. It seems to be something that a lot of people on BookTube, whether they read middle fiction or not, are really enjoying. And I wanted to read this since I heard about it, probably about a year ago. But I am desperately wanting to read it now, especially because the second book is coming out very soon. So I feel like this is something that I need to get to. And I have been looking forward to it. So now is the perfect time. As I mentioned, this is a middle fiction title and it is a bit of a fun fantasy from what I've heard. Amari Peters knows 3 things. Her brother Quentin has gone missing. No one will talk about it. His mysterious job holds a clue. So when she's invited for a trial at the Bureau of Supernatural Affairs, Amari is certain that this is her chance to save him. But first she has to get her head around the new world of the Bureau, where mermaids, aliens, and magicians are real, and her roommate is a were-dragon. Amari must compete for a spot against kids who've known about this world their whole lives, and with an evil magician threatening the entire supernatural world, Amari has never felt more alone. But if she doesn't pass the 3 tryouts, she may never find out what happened to Quentin. So a normal kid getting pulled into a magical world, a setup that we have seen before, for example, with Harry Potter and Nevermore series. Many of those series are wonderful reads. So I'm looking forward to seeing like this take on it. And it seems like rather than being like a chosen one being pulled into this magical world, Amari is choosing to go there or has been pulled in there with the goal of saving someone. So I do like that spin. An enchanting fantasy adventure filled with heart and soul, Amari is magical, says Angie Thomas. Oh, and the author of Nevermore, Jessica Townsend. She's got a little quote here too. I didn't notice that. Sharp, funny, and brightly imaginative, a big adventure filled with magic and heart. So definitely one I've been looking forward to for a long time, and I'm excited to finally get to it. Let's talk about the other middle fiction pick that I've chosen to take along with me, and that is Lenny's Book of Everything by Karen Foxley. I have read Dragonskin by this author, which was released last year, I think, and I loved that book. It was one of my favorite middle fictions of the year. And although Dragonskin was pretty hard-hitting, very emotional, absolutely beautiful, I've heard that this one is even more sad, like is more likely to make me cry. So that's saying something. And I think Karen Foxley is coming out with a new book this year. So I don't have access to a proof for that one yet. I'm hoping that I will. But I thought for now it would be good to get into what is probably her most well known. Lenny, small and sharp, has a younger brother, Davy, who won't stop growing. At 7, he is as tall as a man. Raised by their mother, they have a roof over their heads, but not much else. The bright spot every week is the arrival of the latest issue of the Burrell's Build It at Home encyclopedia. Through the encyclopedia, Lenny and Davy experience the wonders of the world, beetles, birds, quasars, quartz, and dream about a life of freedom and adventure. But as Davy's health deteriorates, Lenny realizes that some wonders can't be named. A big-hearted novel about love and letting go by an award-winning author. Glenda Millard says tough, tender and beautiful. And RJ Palacio says a gorgeous, heartbreaking and heartwarming book. And of course, all of these unremovable but very impressive award stickers as well. Say quite a lot. Oh, and there's even another one on the back. There's so many they didn't have room for all of them on the front cover. Wendy Orr says, though I defy you to read it without tears, Lenny's Book of Everything is warm, humorous, absolutely real, and above all, uplifting. It's also the best book I've read this year. Karen Foxley, you're a genius. Okay, now I've got some YA. Neither of these are super new, but both are ones that I just want to be able to hand sell better because I think they seem popular enough, but also I think they're important and I want to be able to push them and help them find people who will love them. The first is Social Cue by K Kerr, which was released last year. And this is a bit of a YA story about romance. I don't know that it's necessarily a romance though. The main character is autistic and so is the author. And I think from what I've heard, it's about this person navigating romance and relationships as a teenage autistic person. I thought I was nobody's teen crush, but it turns out I was just missing the signs. Zoe Kelly is starting a new phase of her life. High school was a mess of bullying and autistic masking that left her burnt out and shut down. Now, with an internship at an online media company, the first step on the road to her dream writing career, she is ready to reinvent herself. But she didn't count on returning to her awkward and all too recent high school experiences for her first writing assignment. When her piece about her non-existent dating life goes viral, 18-year-old Zoe is overwhelmed and more than a little surprised by the response. But with a deadline and a list of romantic contenders from the past, she is hoping one of those old sparks will turn into a new flame. Social Cue is a funny and heartwarming story about deciphering the confusing signals of attraction and navigating a path to love. An absolute delight, relatable, perceptive, and full of heart. A lot of these books apparently have a lot of heart, something that I clearly am drawn to. Helen Huang says, a perceptive, honest, and warmly captivating romantic comedy that touched my heart. I adored it. Then a book that I've had on my shelf for a long time and I've been wanting to get to for a couple of years now. This is Catching Telacrow by Amberlynn and Ezekiel Quay-Mulliner. I've heard this described as a bit of a murder mystery with a ghost story. I don't know how accurate that is. Like I said, I have not read this, but let's take a look at the blurb. Nothing's been the same for Beth Teller since she died. Her dad, a detective, is the only one who can see her and hear her, and he's drowning in grief. But now they have a mystery to solve together. Who is Isabel catching? And what's her connection to the fire that killed a man? What happened to the people who haven't been seen since the fire? As Beth unravels the mystery, she finds a shocking story lurking beneath the surface of a small town, and a friendship that lasts beyond one life and into another. Told in 2 unforgettable voices, this gripping novel weaves together themes of grief, colonial history, violence, love, and family. Margot Lanigan says, Catching Telacrow goes straight to the heart of Australia's darkest history. I have read a book by Amberlynn Quay-Mulliner before. I've read a couple of her picture books, just at work. And then I also read Living on Stolen Land, which was one of my favorite books of, was it last year or 2020? This is phenomenal and actually what got me interested in looking for more books by Amberlynn Quay-Mulliner. So this one has been on my TBR for the longest and I am definitely excited to get to it. It looks like bits of it are written in verse. Not all of it is though. So a bit of style and format changes as well, which I think will be like just interesting to read. Oh, Ellen Van Neerven says, a touching and original story about a dad who is learning how to grieve and a girl learning how to be dead. The Guardian says, combining taut, intricate thriller with ancient Indigenous tales and a darker side of Australian history. This is a deeply poignant and original novel. Would I say this is the one I'm most excited for? I'm not sure, but it's definitely the one I've been wanting to read for the longest. Then a book that I don't know if it's technically YA, but we do stock it in the YA section. It is The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet by Becky Chambers. And I think this is the first in a series. A rollicking space adventure with a lot of heart. So much heart in all of these books. This year's most delightful space opera. Becky Chambers' debut is a delight, a genuine joy. When Rosemary Harper joins the crew of The Wayfarer, I think it's the Wayfarer trilogy. Is that a thing? I feel like I've heard that before. I think so. Okay, so she isn't expecting much. The patched up ship has seen better days, but it offers her everything she could possibly want. A spot to call home, a chance to explore the far off corners of the galaxy, and some distance from her past. And nothing could be further from what she's known than the crew of the Wayfarer. Life aboard is chaotic and crazy, exactly what Rosemary wants. That is, until the crew is offered the job of a lifetime, tunneling wormholes through space to a distant planet. Sure, they'll earn enough money to live comfortably for years, but risking her life wasn't part of the job description. The journey through the galaxy is full of excitement, adventure, and mishaps for the Wayfarer team. And along the way, Rosemary comes to realize that a crew is a family, and that family isn't necessarily the worst thing in the universe, as long as you actually like them. So this is a book I actually have 2 copies of. This one came to me through the Life's Library. This was the final book for the Life's Library, which I'm very sad about. But I did also receive a copy through my secondhand book subscription service as well. And this seems like fun sci-fi. And I think a lot of my books are on the more emotional side. Not all of them are, but quite a few are. So I think this just seems like a romp. I don't know if I'm right, but it seems that way. It almost gives me like Hitchhiker Guide vibes. I don't know how far off that is, but that's just my feeling. And then the final book that I've chosen, I wanted to pick something that just had nothing to do with work, that just I am excited to read, that I've had on my shelf for a while, that I've wanted to get to. So all of these books I am looking forward to reading, but I wanted to pick something that was just for me. No expectation, no requirements for work, just for me. And I also wanted to pick something slim because quite a few of these are pretty chunky. My stack's getting big. My bag is not getting any bigger. So I've chosen Asleep by Banana Yoshimoto. Now, if you've been on my channel for a little while, you'll know that I've read a couple of Banana Yoshimoto books now, 3, I think, and I loved them. I read Kitchen and Lake, which I gave 4 stars, and then I read Amrita, which might be my favorite book of last year, or it's definitely up there. I adored it. So I promptly went out and ordered a bunch of Banana Yoshimoto books. I haven't read any more yet though, so I would like to rectify that. And I just picked this one from random out of the few that I've ordered and that I've got sitting waiting for me on my shelf. So yeah, Asleep is coming with me too. Banana Yoshimoto's novels have established her as one of Japan's finest and most popular writers and an acclaimed best-selling literary star all over the world. Now, in Asleep, she delivers 3 novellas that develop her sophisticated, resonant, and artfully simple vision. Asleep is a delightful new book from one of the best writers in contemporary international fiction. The Independent says her imagery has the delicacy and strength of Gossamer, and she can make the commonplace seem mystical or surreal. My experience so far with her definitely matches that. Enchanting, compact, and understated, this is a gorgeous collection. So a pretty decent stack to take away for 10 days, but I don't know, I want to have my bases covered and I'm terrified of running out of books to read. And I feel like there's quite a good variety in here and definitely some things that I've been wanting to get to, both for myself and for work. I'd love to hear in the comments below if you've read any of these, let me know what you think, and I'll be sure to update you when I get back. Hopefully I will have read all or most of these, but who knows, maybe I'll only have read 1. So thanks so much for watching. I will talk to you again soon and let you know how I went with these books. And until then, so much love and happy reading. Bye.